Hello, welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's Gaming Friday. I'm Gary.
And I'm Geoff.
And today, Geoff is going to be showing me Frostpunk, which came out on the 24th of April, 2018 on PC. Developed by 11-Bit Studios.
Cold, Gary. It's so cold.
It's real cold. Apocalyptically cold. And that is the setting for Frostpunk. I believe it's set in an alternate timeline. 1886, after the Krakatoa volcano has erupted, alongside another volcano which has caused the temperatures to cool, so we're in the deep freeze, and the people have built generators to generate the heat in order to keep people alive, essentially, and you are the overseer of this generator and the people inhabiting the area.
Yeah, that's it.
Beyond that, I don't know much more about this game other than I want to play it because it is a strategy game.
Yeah, you're it's like a kind of little town builder, essentially. I wouldn't say you would build anything larger than the size of a town, or even maybe a small village. You've fled London, that's what you've done. So you've got like a small group of people. I think we'll see in a minute. You'll see how many civilians we have, but it's about 70, 80 people you taking with you out of London, which is itself a problem because the people that you're with doubt you at some point in the game whether or not, was this the right thing to do? Should we have left London? We're all gonna die. We should have just stayed there. And they start to, as they lose their morale as it gets colder and colder, then they start to long for London. But yeah, you've got to go take these people out to where a generator is and try to find a way to survive. And it gets cold.
And I guess there's going to be random events that you're going to have to see to, plot twists, temperatures dropping, storms coming in.
That's right, yeah. The game is a battle against time, really, because things keep degrading in terms of the conditions you're facing.
Right.
So you've got to try and do as well as you can, stay ahead of it, gather resources, build houses, build factories, build means for gaining food, and then
and looking after your growing population.
Yeah, that's it, and making sure that you can get supplies in for if there's any moments you can't get food, making sure you got enough buildings to turn that food into edible meals. It's just and then you've got to build where you set political policies for how you're going to run your village and how you're going to look after and manage the people there, and you've got to just try and keep the spirits up. There's two little bars which really you're continuously focused on, which is the discontent and the hope. So you've got to try and keep hope up and discontent down as much as possible.
What happens if those go the other way?
Well, people will start leaving and they'll go out into the cold and just start dying. People will start fighting each other, and it doesn't go well.
It's such a depressing game.
So this is a how to make the best of increasingly terrible situation.
Yeah.
But in order to build buildings, you need wood.
So this is the start, and this is the start for every sort of playthrough of the game. It's just your generator and nothing else. So what's the interface like? Show me the how it works, and is it complicated?
It's not complicated at all. It is quite nice. It's quite easy. You got your book of laws, which is where you'll set policies. These will expand out as you adopt more of them. You can do things like decree that we'll start using soup, which means that your food will go further. But when people eat soup, their discontent will rise. You can set up things like fighting arenas so that people will be entertained, and that will reduce their discontent. But there may then be further issues later on. There's child labour. You can decree that you're going to put the kids to work as well because you're desperate. Or you can decree that they won't be put to work, and you'll actually use them in other ways instead. Things like cemetery and corpse disposal, so that when you do end up having people die, that other people won't around them get ill.
Okay.
Emergency shifts, things like that. So, and these trees all expand as you get later into the game. Other trees become available. So
are they available depending on the choices you've made?
Well, they are sort of create the choice that you have to make, because initially your first tree is just adaptation, which is essential right across the board, but then later on you have to decide whether or not you're going to go down the path of authoritarianism, or you're going to inspire religious fervour in order to survive. So that's the Book of Laws. You have your economy there, where you can see your stats, you can see who's gathering what and how many resources you're getting in. This is really one of those things where if you're not gathering as much as you're using, you're going to be in trouble pretty quickly. And then all the rest of it is around this construction, and new buildings will open up depending on what paths you go down in the Book of Laws. And as you also then advance your research, which we don't quite have yet. You won't be able to do any research until you build a workshop.
Right.
But first things first, we need to get some wood. So you also have these gathering posts. So these will help
the resource? Yeah, how's the resource collecting work?
Okay, so you can do one of two ways. You can either send workers out directly to these places by just assigning engineers or workers. Engineers will be more effective. They will gather more resources. I'm just going to pause it for a moment because time is always ticking. So the engineers are better at doing the jobs than workers generally are. Or you can stick a gathering post down, which is the more efficient way of doing it. And as you can see, there's a catchment area. They will then start gathering anything that's in that catchment area. And there you can see also, that's sort of to get you started. That's the very simple, basic way of gathering resources in the first instance. But as things go on, you can see there's wood sort of in the form of fallen trees all around. Yeah, so you can put down sawmills to gather those. And then you see these little patches with icons on it. These are also other ways of gathering resources. So that's a place for building a coal plant. That is actually for building an outbase. So that's how you get out of this little crater and go exploring with your scouts.
So there's an outside area as well?
Yeah, so I'll get to that in a second. There's a place where you can put a wall drill, more coal up there. Essentially, the most important thing you need is wood to build and coal to keep your people warm. If you can't keep your people warm, they're going to start getting frostbitten, then they'll start losing limbs, then they'll start dying, and it all goes to shit very quickly. But you can't build anything until you have a street going out to where you want to build. So if I now was to build this gathering post in a place where I'm going to quite happily collect 3 different types of resources from here, two of which are wood, so that's going to be pretty important for me. So if I put that out here, then I can straight away go to building the streets, and I've got 15 wood with which I should be able to get out there. We're just gonna, as long as I can attach it with a street, then they can start building it. So we'll get that on the go. Now any workers or engineers that are unemployed will just automatically go start building your stuff for you. Okay. You have a working day, which once you get to the end of your working day, your people won't work anymore unless you put a decree on that makes
them work extra hours. Now, you did pause the game.
Yes.
And you were still able to move around the map, choose your buildings, lay the road foundations, resume game again.
That's right.
So it's kind of a strategic thing to always be paused until you've done everything you need to do.
Especially in the first startup, yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can then accelerate time for you, because often there's no need to wait if you've got no resources to do anything, so you might as well. So in the first instance, you can see what they want you to do is get some coal on the go so that you can get this generator on. So that's your most important thing, but you're also going to need buildings, because most of your people are homeless here. You haven't got any tents or anything down for them to live in. So I built a road straight out to this gathering spot. I've sent a bunch of them, as you can see, they're wading through the snow, trying to get to this coal here. Once that's built, I will fill that gathering post, so they'll start gathering the steel and wood that's all around. And whoever I've got left over, I'll send out to one of these other little coal piles and start gathering the rest of that coal. Once I've got enough wood, then I can start being a bit more serious, but I'll need to build a workshop. That's probably my top priority, because then I can start upgrading my skill tree, or my my
policies, wasn't it?
Upgrade tree.
Okay.
No, so the policies is different to your upgrade path. So let's get this rushing along. Right, so there you go. You can see it gives you a handy little indicator if you haven't got it maxed out of how many people are in a particular place. So I'm going to fill that with engineers because I want them to gather as quickly as possible, and I'll put the last 5 engineers over there and fill it up with the rest of the workers. So they should start gathering coal at a good rate. You can see my coal rate is going up very quickly. And I'm going to need it because I'm going to need...
Because you haven't even turned the generator on yet.
And the generator's not on.
It's currently minus 20.
It's minus 20, which is a absolutely scorching minus 20. Because that's as good as it gets, to be fair.
Right.
So,
I just noticed as the day is moving on, the shadow is creeping across your generator.
Yeah, that's it. It's very good. Clever little day-night cycle.
So what do you think of the graphics of the game?
Well, they're adequate.
Adequate, yeah.
They're not going to wow you, but there's some nice little features there, like the way your men carve little paths out in the snow, and it's all like quite good 3-dimensional.
So what do you
graphics.
think of the art style?
See, it's made by the people that made this War of Mine.
Yes.
And the art style is very, it's steampunkish, but it's got a real charm to it, that's what I would say.
Absolutely, yeah, as with this War of Mine, yeah.
I'm going to whack this workshop in straight away. Now, when you come to here, you can see, you can get your temperature overlay, or you can just click on that top bit over there, which gives you the same thing. So you can see how warm your buildings are. Now, we haven't got
the generator's not on.
The generator's not on at the moment. I'm going to wait till I get to that 200 gold pile.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that if I don't turn this generator on right now, we're going to go through the night, and that's when people start to get really cold. So I've just turned that generator on. You can see,
on early, but...
Yeah, turned it on a little early, so you can see that has now got warm. And there's now a little patch surrounding of where it's warming.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's it. They've started asking me to try and build some
shelters
some tents,
for them?
some shelters, yeah. So the more nights they have to go through where they don't have any proper shelter, the more chance you're going to get people who are going to get sick.
Yes, okay.
So you don't want people to get sick because then they can't work
right.
And they... eventually if they get too sick they're going to lose limbs, and you won't be able to sort them out any limbs until you can get
medication or hospitals or infirmaries or
false limbs. You can build them you can build them fake limbs to be able to carry on going and continue working, but you won't be able to get to that till later. So in this free time, so you'll get to the end of the work shift, and then people will have a little bit of time before where they can build up whatever you've got in your build queue. If they say everybody's been working, and you've got no people to build all your buildings that you've put in there, work will finish, then they'll come along and build it all for you before they go to bed. So, but then you've got to get through the night. So I built them a little tent there, just so that I've got at least 10 of them. Now as you can see, they're getting sick because I got 70 people. 70 out of 80. There's so my people down there. I've got 80 people in total. 15 of them are children.
Right.
15 of them are engineers, and 25 of them are workers who at the moment are unemployed.
Because there's no more work to be done?
Because I have not got enough things in place for them to be getting on with. So at first, your top priority is to try not to have to go through as fewer nights as possible with people homeless, so that you end up with as few sick as possible.
Right.
But every so often, you'll see these people will come along, and they'll say, "Oh, it's not good enough. Blah blah blah." They'll moan at you or advise you to do something. You can choose to ignore it if you want. You make your own decisions. But they're asking, see, maybe we should open the Book of Laws and sign in the emergency shift law. So that means if what I could have done there is sign in the emergency shift law straight away, and then I can crack the whip and make people go through for a whole 24 hours of work.
Right.
And so that's if I want to do that. But if you do that, every time you do that, you're going to raise discontent, and you don't want people to start really getting angry with you.
No.
So,
so with the other policies that you have there, when can you choose to enact them? Is it only when the game lets you make your choice, or can you make a choice on all of those now?
Some of them will come based on the fact that you've chosen them. So you can see there's branches out here. So if I now choose this radical treatment commission, then that will open the next one. But once you sign a law into place, so I'll put that law into place, the gravely ill, it raises discontent because it's a controversial law, but people's hope will go up because it is also desired.
Okay.
It doesn't make any difference to me at the moment because I don't have any medical centres. So that essentially means I'm going to cram my medical centres full with double the amount of capacity.
Right.
But once I've done that, I then, as you can see, that's opened up that chain, and that offers me the options to either put in extra rations for the ill to try to increase the rate in which they'll speed up their recovery. Or I'll use... Oh, no, that's the overcrowding.
Okay,
there's the one where we start to actually overcrowd the
medical areas,
medical places to try and get everybody in and treated. But so as you can see, that making that decision affected both, and I can't now enact another law for 24 hours.
Okay, right. So there's your limit.
Or 20 hours. I'm not sure how many it was, but there we go. So now I'm just racing through. The day started again. Work time set about. And we're going to try and get ourselves a max wedge of coal up to 200, because that will trigger that. There we go. So now we've done that first mission, we'll be going on to the next one, and that's now our priority is food. So up in the top there, we've got food on the count in terms of raw food, but you have to be able to turn those into rations.
It needs to be cooked.
So to do that, you've got to build a cookhouse. There's no two ways about it. You can do nothing without a cookhouse. So I'm building a cookhouse there. Once that's in place and I've put some workers in there, they'll start converting raw food into food rations. Rude fashions.
That sounds edible.
Let's just have my workers mincing about. But there we go. So yeah, so
that's the general flow of the game.
I'm going to need to get more raw food in, because that 100's going to go pretty quick.
More rude food.
In rude food, yeah. Rude fashion.
So there are other... I mean, this is the main game scenario. How long would does this take to finish from now to the end?
Well, it depends how quickly you get on that very fast game speed.
Okay, right, okay.
And how well you know what you're doing.
How long did it take on your first playthrough?
I'd say probably my first playthrough was about maybe 10 hours or so, probably.
And that was to a completion or a failure?
That was to a nail-biting completion.
Excellent. And was there a difficulty level?
There is a difficulty level. Once you've completed it once, you will then be able to play again on a harder setting. There's also an endless mode, so you can...
What makes the game harder on its harder setting? Less resources? Less people? Colder temperatures? What do they do?
Yeah, well, I haven't actually played it on any harder settings yet, so I would be... But I do know that you will be dealing with colder temperatures.
Right.
Colder sooner, and you'll have, I think the resources are either scarcer or things are more expensive to build.
Right. So yeah, there is an endless mode, which means you just keep playing, the days just keep going, and you just keep going until you've built and researched and done everything, and then keep going.
Yeah, and then it's about surviving, because I mean this number can go wherever they choose to take it, and it gets really, really cold. So what you can do with your generators, you can overdrive it, so you'll ramp the heat up every so often. You can level it up so that the amount of heat that is coming out of it is higher, but it uses more coal when you do, and then you can also increase the range of that. So each one of those you go up, it's going to use more coal again
outwards,
but it's going to expand the reach of the generator right out here. And then you can build other little sort of like pylon generators which take heat from there, but will give you another circle, a circumference of heat with which you can build from there. So I mean, I have, on the second time round, I didn't build anything in terms of range upgrades, so the generator was literally just up to steam level 4, but I just used then those
little pylons to spread the heat.
That's it. So
so there are other scenarios other than Endless and the main scenario. There's the Arcs, which is the second scenario.
The Arcs,
that's the name of the second scenario.
Okay, what is this?
There's also the Refugees, which is the third scenario.
Yeah, so when you play the game, you sort of go through all of those scenarios seamlessly. You don't really know it's a scenario until you come back in. But once you've gone in the second time round, you can then go in from the point that you've reached.
Right.
So here's the technology tree. So straight away you can see it's going to cost me 10 wood to build the capacity to build these steam hubs. That's those little pylons, heaters outside. You can upgrade heaters, and then there's these 5 levels. So you've got these different categories. So you can upgrade the generator power and the range possibility and the efficiency of the generator through these 5 different levels. Then you have exploration and industry. This is where you can start to create scouts, which once you've got a beacon and you can go out and create scouts, then you'll be introduced to the wider world around you. You can increase your ability to gather resources through these 5 levels, and you can increase your ability to gather food and build better houses instead of tents, build actually bunk houses or houses proper, and increase the insulation in all the places where your people will be working, that sort of thing. So that is your technology tree, and the core essence of the game is all about getting through those trees as quickly and efficiently as possible to get you to survive.
What you need, yeah. So there is also free DLC for the game. There was the Fall of Winterhome.
Okay.
Which is and there's they also have a roadmap on their website detailing all the free content that they've been continuously releasing for the game, which is extra scenarios and extra stories, and there is also, I believe, a season pass for the game.
Okay.
Which means they're going to be continuously releasing more stories and more, I don't know, events that happen during these generator built cities.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a lot of potential for this. I mean, my main criticism of the game is you'll think, is that it? You'll be done with it quite quickly.
Well, that's to say, the game has had very, very good reviews. It holds a 9 out of 10 on Steam. On Metacritic, it's an 84 out of 100 and an 8.4 out of 10. And it won several awards. It won the Strategy Game of the Year award in the Australian Game Awards. It won the Best Strategy Game at the Game Critics Awards, and it won PC Game of the Year at the Golden Joystick Awards. The game's music composer as well, I think it's Peter Musil. He's won several awards for the music in the game, and the music in the game is really good. It's very atmospheric. I've listened to the soundtrack separately from seeing the game. I was just like, wow, that is a wonderfully written piece of music that totally fits the visuals of the game, but can also just be played in the background.
I think it is very well done.
Yes.
It's not a huge game. Don't expect it to be huge. It may well get a lot larger with the expansion. But what they have done with poise, elegance, and just enough to get you like emotionally invested in keeping your people alive. You know, they don't overcomplicate the story. It's just enough to know that, yeah, you know, you're trying to keep these people alive, and then there'll be, you know, various different problems with your little tribe here that you have to deal with. No. And you get emotionally attached. You know? if people start leaving your place,
you're
like,
what have I done wrong? Yeah. Now, one of the big criticisms that I've read for the game is that there is no creativity when it comes to building your empire. I guess I know your town, your survivor refuge.
Yeah.
It's kind of, there is a correct path to building and there is an incorrect path to building. If you incorrectly build, it's over. You will fail.
Yeah, you need to be able to plan your town out efficiently.
But that is a hindrance on the replayability of the game, where you play something like Tropico or Civilization, or, you know, there is a variety in how you build and structure and your tower. I guess, you know, you're kind of limited to this small area here, and you branch out to the resources, and then build out.
Yeah,
but then the crater will get bigger. Or will you go to another crater? So this is just it.
This is it.
So it's more micromanaging a very small area.
Absolutely.
To which, again, if you were being overly critical, after 6 hours, there is nothing left for you to discover in the game.
Yeah, once you've got to the top of that technology tree, you've unlocked everything that you've got to see in the game.
Yeah.
Or once you've gone through enough of these creeds in the Book of Laws, you will, you know, that will unlock other further buildings. But yeah, you should have pretty much seen everything that you've got to see near enough.
Yeah.
With a single playthrough. But then you'll want to play it again, because once you've played your first playthrough, you'll
be able to anticipate.
You may not have made it through, or you'll be barely have made it through. And you'll think, I could have done that a lot better by the time. And so you instantly, I finished one playthrough and started another. Once I got to the end of the second playthrough, then I thought, well, actually, I'm going to put it away now. Now I really have seen what it can be done. I've done it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
I would like to have a go at endless mode and see what I can do, see how it progresses and see where it gets to. I would like to have a go at it at harder mode. There may be a few achievements there that I think, well, yeah, I'll go on, I'll try and maybe have a go at those achievements because they're a little bit of a challenge. Yeah. But beyond that...
But the price tag is $24.99, so it'd be £25 or $25, I'd imagine.
It's not a huge cost,
No. Oh, the shelter promise was broken.
Yeah.
Hope falls, discontent rises.
That's it. You gotta keep your promises, because I wasn't too worried about keeping my promises for this little bit. But if you make a promise, you gotta keep it. Otherwise, it hurts your meters down the bottom.
So with the the 6 hours of game length, or the 20 hours total that you'll get out of it, plus more if you do really enjoy the game, I think more than equals the price tag for the game, especially for one that looks and sounds really, really nice, very atmospheric. The game has tension for a strategy game. There's a lot of tension with knowing whether you're going to get the resources correct, whether people are going to freeze if you made the right policy choice.
Yeah.
So that is the fun of the gameplay. As somebody just watching the game, it's not something that's going to entertain many people. You're going to know whether this is the sort of game for you just by playing, or just by seeing this.
If you like building, builder strategies, then this will keep you entertained for between 10 to 20 hours, I would think. Maybe a bit more if you especially love this.
So do you recommend Frostpunk, Geoff?
I do recommend it, yeah. I bought this especially if you find it on sale. If you find it on sale, I got a Steam voucher offering me 50% off. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy it. I bought it for a friend of mine for Christmas. And when I bought it, I thought, yeah,
I want to play that too.
I actually really want that, but I'll wait because I've got so much to play.
Yeah.
And then I got a voucher through because I'd purchased this War of Mine. It was for anybody. If you'd already purchased anything from these guys that made this game,
yeah,
then bam, like 50% off Frostpunk.
They are a Polish company that was founded in 2010. They're made up by former CD Projekt Red members. And Metropolis Software, which I don't know too much about. But obviously CD Projekt Red, they're the Witcher developers.
They're still probably one of the best reputation developers out there at the moment, I would say.
Yeah, when you compare them to all the others, for sure.
Exactly, that's what I mean. They are. They've got the best.
This is a game, obviously, I can't recommend it. I haven't played it, but this is a game that I've been super excited to play ever since I saw the trailer for it. And then when Geoff mentioned he'd had it, I was like, I need to play this game, and I still can't wait to play this game.
You should indeed play this game. You won't regret it.
No.
You'll enjoy it, and you won't feel like you haven't had good value, especially if you get it on sale. It's great value. It's a must-buy if you see it on sale.
For sure.
Anything from 33% or to 50% off, or more, obviously. Snap it up, because you won't regret it.
For sure. Excellent. Well, thank you, Geoff, and thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back next Friday to look at another video game. Of course, new film reviews on Thursdays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.
Take it easy.